How's it all, you lacquer people? And welcome to the very first Tech Tips Tuesday, brought to you by Ride Bikes Be Happy. My name's Conrad Davies, and today we're going to talk about how to protect your bike from the elements in this crappy weather we have in autumn and winter. But first, roll that intro. Autumn is here, and that means beautiful colors outside, mushrooms, rain, and mud. The first one we're going to do is build some frame protection like this. Foam frame protection comes from the motocross industry and stops the buildup of mud in behind here. You won't be able to see it because I put it in pretty well, but there's always a gap between the swing arm and the main frame. I've just been on a ride now. Although it was mainly on the road, you can see that there's no mud sitting in this area over here. So what are you going to need for this? Well, first of all, I use a product called Shadow Foam. I use this for the inside of my toolbox. You see my toolbox and how neat and tidy it is. So first off, I probably need a pretty decent pair of scissors, the scalpel that comes with the Shadow Foam, or an X-Acto knife, and of course a piece of Shadow Foam to cut up. So unfortunately the way the frame is designed on the remote control doesn't really allow space for the foam to just be stuck on just anyhow. So I've looked at it and I think that the best thing to do would be to put the foam into this gap over here. So basically it will sit slightly over the edges so it protects these two bearings on the outside, and it stops dirt from going down inside that hole over there, which is our big problem with the e-bikes or with bikes that you're riding through the winter, and it causes massive erosion over there. The paint will come off and stuff over the course of a good winter. So I'm going to put my Shadow Foam in basically like this. I'm going to cut it down to about there, so let's start with that. So for this job the scalpel will probably work the best. So we set about there, and you've got your piece. Now I'm wanting to get my foam into that gap there. So as I said, it shrouds the bearing slightly as well. Our first cut is going to be to get that shape over there, so that there's more tire clearance over there, just so the mud doesn't sit there. So I'm going to cut from there down like that, and I'm going to cut all the way through the foam. So now we've got kind of the shape we want. So that'll fit nicely into that gap over there. I've just got to cut a little bit of space away for the bearing housing on either side, which I'll do now. This would probably be easier to just do with a pair of scissors. So I'm just going to cut the edges off here, up to about there, and there. Having checked that that's okay, I'm now going to just shape this down a little bit. You can see it's uneven, and I hate uneven things, so and just a quick check to see that it fits in nicely. Wrong way around there. So that's basically it. That's basically how it's going to sit. You can see here now it's protecting the bearings a little bit and so on, but we've got one last problem. In this bike's case, this is curved. Some bikes are flat. This is pretty flat actually, but it's curved slightly. So I want to take a little bit down out of the middle of this so that it sits flusher onto the bike. Let's see if we can do that. So to do that cut, we're going to have to do something sort of like this. We're going to have to cut a V down the inside here. So that brings me to the glue. Because the cool thing about it is that once it's dry, it sticks like crazy, but if you get a screwdriver in under it or something like that, you can just pull it back off. So that's going to be the advantage here. We need it to stick like crazy, but we also need to be able to remove the foam once it's either worn out or the winter is over and we want to take it off our bikes or whatever. So I'm going to use a liberal amount of shoe glue. And I'm just using the back of an old toothbrush to spread it nicely. Now the trick is going to be just to make sure that this sits completely down over the gap. And then while it does bond really well and stay in place really well, it takes a while to dry. So if you haven't got all day to hold it in place, then just take a bit of insulation tape, snip off a section and stick it down. When that's dry, you can take off the insulation tape, and then the back of your bike is pretty well protected from mud, especially in this little area here. So thanks for being here for the first Tech Tips Tuesday. We'll try to make this a regular occurrence. So the plan is that next time around we'll talk a little bit more about how to keep your bike clean and running nicely in these crazy conditions, and how to keep your drivetrain in good condition. If there's anything you'd like to see in these videos, please drop a comment below. If you liked the video, as usual, please click like. If you like what you see on my channel, please subscribe. And until next time, ride safe and cheers.